Hello guys, my name is Ace, and today in this video I want to talk about the Battlefield 4 community designed map. So if you don't already know, a couple of weeks ago, DICE, who is the developer of Battlefield 4, if you didn't know, asked the community, guys like you and me, to basically help them design a map. It was going to be a community map and they're going to put it in the game. They're going to take the best ideas and shape it into a map, and then later in the life cycle of Battlefield 4, release it as a DLC to everyone. Now, one thing I'm not sure about is how DICE want us to actually tell them or get in contact with them to tell them. I'm guessing it's by the forums, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing a video about it. So this is the whole point of this video. I'm going to be giving my ideas on a Battlefield map. I've been going around reading a lot of comments on other videos about this, and so far I've just seen the same old stuff. I haven't seen anything new. And what I mean by that is I see a lot of people wanting jungle maps, for instance, or urban maps. Just stuff like that in general, stuff that we've seen before. But since this is an opportunity for us to help them design a new map, why not do something a little different? So this is what I've come up with. I hope it's not too crazy, but I've thought this through really well. It's gonna cater to both long range, medium range, short range, close quarter combat, aerial combat, naval warfare, everything included in this map. And sometimes that could be a bad thing if you have pretty much everything combined into one map, but this will separate everything from let's say long range will be separated from close quarter combat. So the setting for this map is on top, not on top, but on an aircraft carrier out in the middle of the ocean. Now you might be thinking that we already have aircraft carriers in the Naval Strike DLC. Well, that is true, but we do not have the depth that I would like. Like in the Naval Strike DLC, all we can basically do is just run around on top, go underneath, destroy a couple of MCOMs, and that's pretty much it. But what I have in mind is something a little bit different. On this map, every single part of the carrier has to be accessible, every single room. Maybe not every single room, but every single hallway and stuff like that underneath the aircraft carrier has to be accessible. Now what I'm hoping is that will give us Operation Metro-like gameplay, very close quarters, very tight, a lot of choke points, but that's not also a good thing because if you've played Metro before, you know that, once the enemy team and the friendly or whichever team you're on, they meet at the staircase, that's pretty much where everyone gets stuck and you can't get past that in either direction. But I still think it could work. I mean, if you have the right amount of lines of travel, I guess you could say, or pathways or routes around the bottom of the ship, around where the hallways and the decks and the bunkers for the crew are. I mean, it could be a really fun close quarters experience down there. But then we have the engine room farther down the ship, which is going to be just a little bit more open. Not too open to where you can freaking snipe hundreds of meters across, but obviously it's gonna have engines in it, so it's got to be a big room to house those engines. So that could be a good place for an MCOM or something if you're gonna incorporate Rush into this map, which is my next point actually. This would be a really great Rush map because you would start off at the top where it's really open, make your way into the ship from air vehicles or water vehicles, and then just make your way farther down the ship for the attacking team. I know all this kind of sounds a little bit crazy. I mean, it's a freaking ship. It's just gonna be slaughter everywhere. But if you strategically place the right amount of cover in a certain area, it can work. And we've seen that on the wrecked aircraft carrier on the map Parasol Storm, where it's an aircraft carrier, but it has a lot of wreckage on it, so that provides a lot of cover. So that it kind of works really good for Rush. I mean, it is kind of one-sided just a little bit, but it's not too bad. But if you can, just work on it a little bit, it can work. Now moving on to the very top of the carrier, and I forgot to mention that in real life these aircraft carriers are about 1,000 foot long, which is roughly around 300 meters. So it is actually a pretty good size ship. I mean, it may not look like it, but if you're actually on it, it's freaking huge. I've gotten, I consider like 100, 150 meter headshots in Battlefield 4 to be really long range, and this is going to be 300 meters across, so it's pretty big. But at the top of the ship, it's pretty much going to be heaven for all snipers out there because first of all, it's really long lines of sight. Second, you have that control tower up there and you can climb up there and look down on everything. But for the people on the deck of the aircraft carrier, that might get a little annoying just constantly getting killed by snipers camping at the tower. So you can compensate for that by putting a little bit of cover, maybe placing a couple of jets or helicopters in the right place for cover. That could work really well. So far, this is sounding like a very infantry-centric map, but it's not, I promise. I suck. I admit it. I suck at infantry in Battlefield. I'm all for vehicles. I'm really good in the chopper and tank. That's my thing. But unfortunately, we can't have any tanks because aircraft carrier tanks just kind of doesn't work. But it could make for some really great air combat because, I mean, you're going to have a clear blue sky above the carrier. Actually, we may not have clear blue sky because we could probably do some kind of weather revolution. Maybe, give it a storm or something that could rock the ship to where it kind of like shakes your screen a little bit. That'd be kind of a cool idea. And also surrounding the ship is going to be water, which makes really good naval combat, obviously. But one thing I don't want to see on this map is any kinds of islands or anything. We kind of already have that in Battlefield 4. We have Paracel Storm. We have pretty much all the maps from Naval Strike, We have the carriers and then they're surrounded by islands. I would just like for this to be like in open sea. I guess you could say it'll add an extra layer of immersion, if that makes sense. Now, since we won't be able to have any tanks, or I'm guessing we won't be able to have any tanks or anything like that on this map because it's a freaking aircraft carrier, I was hoping that, since nowadays aircraft carriers nowadays are equipped with a lot of defensive stuff like defensive missiles, defensive guns, so that could be used by the people on top of the carrier to, ward off maybe air attacks or sea attacks. The only thing that I haven't figured out about this map is how the spawns are going to work, where the enemy, where one team will spawn and where the other team will spawn at the beginning of the map. I mean, the most I can think of is like one team at the top of the carrier and one team at the bottom, and they just both rush out to the middle to meet each other, and then it'll just spread from there. And one thing I forgot to mention is since it's an aircraft carrier, it's going to have a lot of hangars and stuff at the bottom, and those hangars are going to be equipped with elevators to bring the aircraft up and down. It'd be really cool to see if those were actually functional. You can use to maybe transport infantry up and down, or if you are going to have any kind of vehicle or anything like that, you can transport it up and down from those elevators. But yes, that is my ideas for a community map. It's something a little bit different. I mean, it might sound crazy. I mean, but it might also work at the same time too, It's something a little different we haven't seen before. But I don't know, I just have a really good feeling about this. I feel like this map would work really well if they have the right amount of cover on the map, if they have the right amount of routes to take around the map so, it doesn't get choked off at one point and it just becomes a whole another Operation Metro 2.0, I really think this map could work if everything is done right. Plus, it's a little bit different from what we've seen before. So yeah, there you have it. Those are my thoughts and ideas on what the community map should be like. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.